Good afternoon, everyone. So I'm going to talk to you today about the Client Access Portal, how to use it, what's in it, how a client registers, how to produce a PCA, how to send documents, both you and the client, and then we'll actually have a look in the portal to see why this is a really good system to use. Okay, I'm going to be flitting around between Nexus, back office, and this presentation. That's why it's in this format. I do apologise, but it's the only way I can do it. Okay, so if we start with back office, okay, I'm going to show you what you actually need, all you actually need to register a client for the portal. So this client doesn't have to be a long established client, doesn't have to be a client with a fact find or with business. It could in theory be a prospect. So all we do is log into back office, which is what I've done. I'm assuming you can all do that. Click on clients and then create a client if it's a new client with the minimum details, either a single or a joint. Click next, put their address in and basic details, date of birth. But what you need is a mobile and an email for each client. Now, just to clarify that, I've got AOL at home and Virgin, and I have a total of 25 free email accounts I can use, but I only use 3, one for my wife, one for myself, one for my son. That's it. So I've got free emails. Your clients will have something similar, maybe not as many as that, but they'll certainly have free ones. Now, they have to be different. So male and female, they have to be different. These are individual registrations, not joint registrations. What is ideal is if they have a mobile apiece, but not in all cases have they got a mobile. We understand that. We don't expect a client to take out a contract just so they can go into the portal. So what you do, you decide which was the first life. You would register the client. What I'm going to show you now, you'd register the client, number 1, using the mobile. We only use that to authenticate the contract, the portal itself. And we register that client. Once they're set up, we take the mobile phone number out of the client record. So if I show you that, the demonstration client, we would say, if it was a joint client, we'd take the mobile phone number out of here and we would put that in the other record. But before you send an invite to the client, you would have to notify Justin at admin what you're doing. Otherwise, the algorithms in the background will try and stop you from doing it, and access will be denied because it recognizes the mobile number for the first client. We have to flick a switch in the background and then you're okay. You can move on. So emails, totally different, essential. Mobile phone, different mobiles is probably the way to go, but if they've only got one, fair enough. Okay, so to register somebody for the portal, it's via an invite only. Okay, the client doesn't have to accept. You don't, it's not mandatory to use this. In my opinion, it would be better if you did, because it's a time saver, it's a game changer. It can make you work a lot smarter. Sat down here doing all your work from the portal, it's a strong possibility it can be done. So I've gone into this demonstration client, so nothing fancy. I've not created a client. I've just literally gone to one of my existing demonstration client. Now, when you come in here to invite someone, don't use the portal down here. That's the obvious place, but it's not the correct place. This portal here, all it does is register all the times, all the dates your client's attempted, even the fails to log in, and you can actually impersonate your client and go and have a look at their portal. But that's not the place to do the invite. The place to do the invite is messages. When you click on messages, what you'll see in your system is just you, just one advisor, but there's 5 of us in the recruitment team using this, and IT as well. Now I'm the advisor test account, so let's just say there's only you there. That's it. Click on that, and it's this box that's important down here. Now, there's lots of information in here already. These are messages that one of 5 of us have sent out, so just ignore them. Your client will have nothing on their screen. So the idea is we want your client to start using the portal right away. So the lovely Nicola's on the call with me, so I'm going to make that live. I'm going to put here, Nicola. Okay, please can you reply to this message so I know you have registered for the portal, Steve. Okay, and I'm going to press send. Now, this is the bit that doesn't make sense. It's a Mancunian saying ask about face, and it's something some of the advisors don't quite work out, but this is where you're going wrong. That message in blue and white has gone to the portal. It's gone to a portal the client hasn't got access to, which makes a lot of sense. Okay, they cannot see this message at this point. But at the same time you press send, simultaneously, they get this email. Now this email, especially for the ARs out there, this email is system generated. It's not from from Steve. It's not from an appointed rep company. It's from the system. The system is 2Plan. Okay, so you need to inform your clients. Steve Barlow, I'm sending you an invite, Mr. Client, but it's going to come from 2Plan. It's the system I've bought, I'm using. That's where it comes from. It's not a scam. So the client reads the email. Your message has gone to the portal. They get this email. Your advisor has posted a secure message or document for you. Please note, due to data security, it's not been included in the email. As this will be your first time you've used the client access portal, you need to register. Now, all those who've been on my training before know I've got 5 foolproofs. There's 5 areas where a client goes wrong, and I'm going to show you which they are. The first one is the word register. It's key. It really is key to this. Mr. Client, you need to register and choose a password. You'll be able to view all your documents, bit of blurb, but actually the registration steps, if you click here on the email, is an attached video. Now mine's an old version. There is a newer version out there. It's an old YouTube one. I've been using this for about 2.5 years. And this video, Sam Pugmire talks them through the process. It only lasts 58 seconds, but it actually only really kicks in about 18 seconds. So if I can get to that bit for you. You guys can't hear Sam talking at the moment. I can, but you can't. It will get there in a second. I've trialed this today. It does work. Just bear with me. Okay, here we go. Right, there we go. Now, I hope yours is clearer than mine. Mine isn't very clear at all. I don't know why it was working okay before. So we'll just go back to this bit. So this is login and this is register. Not crystal clear there, I do apologise. But what some of your clients tend to do, I say that because they've stopped doing it on the whole, is they will click on login first and try and log in and press all sorts, and they can't do it. But the email clearly says, Mr. Client, we need you to register. So they click on register. Once they press register, now they have to then put in the email you've sent this to, the email that's on your client record. Okay, and that has to be in the personal box within back office. So if you have, let's say we've got a chap using a work email and you've put it in work and personal, at this point decides, actually, I don't want to use my work email, it won't work. He would then have to ring you up, tell you, I don't want to use that work email, I want to use a personal one. You'd have to re-input that and send it out again. They have to use the email that's on your client record. And the reason why is because the email is key number 1. Key number 1 gets them into the server. Okay, makes it extremely safe, but they need the email to get them into the server. Carry on. It's not very clear, this, I do apologise. So what's happening next is the email's gone in and the client needs to have their mobile handy. because we send them an authentication code, 6 digits, to a text message, and they have a couple of minutes to basically get that text message in to this box here. That will authenticate the client's portal. And if they miss the time, they'll have to start again. So enter the 6 digits, click continue. You have to take my word for this because you can't see it. Your password will need to be a minimum of 8 characters and numbers and symbols. It does actually tell them there because at this point they have to create a password. Now the password is key number 2. This gets them in to their personal safe deposit box, their personal client access portal. The email gets them into the server. The password gets them into their specific portal. Okay, they put it in twice. It won't let them carry on if they get it wrong. Then they press finish, and that's it. That's all they have to do. What it then does, it kicks them back to, it's a bit clearer, the login screen. This time they do log in, and they log in with their username, which is key number 1, which is the email, and the password is key number 2, which is their password they've just put in twice. Now, if they forget their password, there's a forget password button there. It will just ask them for the email, forget password, and it'll come through via any normal password reset. So just to recap then, at this point, you've gone into back office, you've put a client in the system or they're an existing client, they've got a mobile, they've got an email, you go into back office, in messages, send the individual a message that at that point they cannot see, okay, because they haven't registered, they can't see it anyway. That message, when you press send, goes to the portal. The client gets this email from 2Plan, not you, which tells them to register, choose a password, click here, watch the video, 58 seconds long, and effectively they are going to register for the portal. Okay, so at that point, how do you know when they've activated the account? So when they've activated the account, you'll receive an email. Your client, Andy Demo or Nicola Chavarin, has activated access to their portal. So number 1, you get an email. Number 2, if you're using Nexus, for whatever reason, my system slowed down. If you're using Nexus and you just happen to have your client list up, your client will turn from a red cross to a green tick. That's just if you're in Nexus. So we notify you immediately with a green tick, immediately with an email, and in back office, when it opens, you will get a notification. The notifications are at the top of the screen there. So one thing to bear in mind, just going to cover this briefly. In order to make sure your account is set up correctly to receive notifications, to receive emails, if you can come across to the top here where your picture is, click on the down arrow, user preferences, edit, make sure you're not at 24 hours notice, move it to 1, and then tick both of them boxes. So that's literally into your picture, drop down, user preferences, do that again. Edit, move it from 24 hours to 1, click on email, click on notification. You can actually take these off if you want, but I just leave them all on. Okay, so move that back so you'll receive all the notifications. So we've got a green tick, we've got an email, and we've got a notification. And what we've also got is an email from your client. Now, the client logs in the system here. Okay, they put the username in, which is key number 1, which gets them into the server. They put the password in, which is key number 2, which gets them into their safe deposit box, and they log in. When they log in, come to these screens, and they'll have a message. And the message, I'm the 5th advisor, so there'll just be you there, as I've said before. Okay. There's the message. Dear Nicola, please can you reply to this message so I know you've registered for the portal, Steve. Nicola will just write, Steve, that was easy. Nicola sends it to me, the advisor. The advisor then gets a notification. You saw that pop up. Demonstration client has sent you a message. You can click on that, but I'll show you where it is anyway. Demonstration client, messages. So underneath the message that you've sent, dear Nicola, please can you reply? Nicola's replied. Steve, that was easy, Nicola. Any questions about the, Steve, Nicola, any questions there about the registration process before I move on? It's quiet, so I'll take it there isn't.
Sorry, I'm just getting a few of them up. So there is a couple. I think one of the anonymous ones at the start was just what about elderly clients, which I think was the thing about, again, going back to having emails or mobile numbers. So
yeah,
like you said,
well, the thing with elderly clients, since the lockdown in March 2020, our most users can be provable at 75 and above. So the only time they can't use the portal is if they don't have an internet connection. But it's there for them all. The people who look at the valuation tab, mostly on a daily basis, are over 75s.
So it is the so as well as an internet connection, they still need an email address and a mobile
email address, mobile, and a Wi-Fi connection to be invited to the portal. Otherwise, it won't work.
Yeah. Okay. Another anonymous. What about the email and details of video as I send now? So I'm not sure what whoever that is sending now. But
well, really, I'm not sure what they're sending neither. It's I'm really not. So it sounds like, Steve, someone is emailing the registration details and the video. They don't need to. The client's got an email address already. They clearly got a Wi-Fi account. Send it via the portal. It goes with the invite already. Tells them what to do. There's no need to do that. Yeah, so you don't have to do that as well. This is instead of.
I think that was possibly from Kevin McNamara, but we'll see.
You don't need to send an email. If it is you, Kevin, you don't need to send an email with a video attached. The system generates it for you.
Just part of the process. Yeah, that is that one. So yeah, it's just letting the client know that to expect an email, and there it is.
Yeah, I think the tip here would be, if you're going to invite a client, you would need to inform them that you're going to send them an invite via an email from 2Plan. Otherwise, they could get a bit confused. I do understand that bit. You have to tell them the email's from 2Plan and not you, or not your brand.
Cool. Okay, one from Andrew Morgan. Thank you very much. Is there a how-to flowchart for the client on this? No. I think that's the video, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the video, Andrew. I mean, we have got a document that explains how to do it, but it's for you. It's not really a client one. It's Andrew, if you send them an email and they've got a video, the video's 58 seconds. They can play it 100 times if they want. They definitely get a better copy than I've got, without a doubt. It's pretty straightforward. It really is. They just have to put an email in, wait for the mobile to send an authentication code, put 2 passwords in, and then log back in. It's as simple as that. It really is. There is a flow chart document, but the video, the flow chart's for you. The video is for the clients.
Okay, that was that one. Just two more for the moment. Another anonymous. If you put a prospect on a pool and decide not to take them on as a client, can you clear them later?
Yeah, not the easiest thing to do, but we can.
Okay, that'll just be another email to admin, I believe, isn't it?
But yeah, it would be IT. We'd have to sort that out. Yeah, we have done that. We set somebody up wrong not so long ago, and can't quite remember what was wrong with the account, but it was wrong, and we deleted it. But it's not as simple. Well, you ask us to delete it, we'll delete it. Simple as that. It's not easy in the background because it links into all sorts, but it is doable. Yeah.
Okay. And last one at the moment. If it's a power of attorney as our client, whose details are entered in the client record? Is it the client or the
No, it's a brilliant question, that, and I was going to cover that, but you beat me to it. It's an absolutely brilliant question. So what the power of attorney situation is, the client is the client is the client. So it's the client's name, okay, the client's portal, but it's the power of attorney's mobile and email address. But you have to have seen or have access to the power of attorney.
Steve, sorry, I was watching the call. It's Justin here, by the way. I was watching the call as a guest and I saw that question pop up, so I thought I'd quickly jump on. We're actually just in the process of creating a slightly modified version of the portal for POA and corporate clients. So Sam will be hosting a session on that probably about 6 weeks' time.
Brilliant, Justin.
So
thanks
that's in pipeline. So it's certainly on its way.
Yeah, I don't want to create much more work for myself, but I'll just tell you an example that happened recently. I don't know if Keith's on the call, but Keith has a power of attorney for Mr. and Mrs. The same person is the power of attorney. That is creating problems for us with the portal, because the power of attorney is email and mobile. The mobile can be in each account because we can take it out, but the email addresses can't. So it's created a problem. It's something we're working to resolve in the background. We haven't got there yet. But yeah, we're creating a new system for power of attorneys and corporates, which is good. Any more questions, Steve?
Yes, I guess this one's probably just been covered by what you said, but if you have one power of attorney acting for two parents, how do we deal with it as a power of attorney will have the same mobile?
That's probably Keith who asked the question anyway.
Yeah.
And we're working, the way around it is for the simple way. It's not ideal, but for the individual, the power of attorney to have two different email addresses. You can use the same mobile, but you would need two different email addresses. It is causing us a problem, that, but something we're working to resolve. So we are aware of that.
Okay, so you've got plenty more. The portal is very useful. However, there seems to be no ability to add an out of office notification on the profile. It's just going to be added. Otherwise, client messages could be ignored if the advisor is away.
Steve, do me a favour, slow down, say that again.
Seems to be no ability to add an out of office notification on the profile as an advisor. It's just going to be added.
That's something I'll have to take away.
We have had that fed back to us before. I'm not sure how possible that actually is or not. Obviously, we're not developers, so it is something that has been fed into us, and it's being looked at. But like I said, I don't know whether it's something that we can do, we can't do, or what the case may be with that one.
Okay, cheers, Justin. I was going to say something similar. I'll take it away, really. Can we move on, Steve, or have we got more?
Yeah, move on. But we've got a couple more, but I'll save them for
No, go on,
the next bit.
I've got time, because the next bit doesn't take long.
So this one's probably easy enough, but another anonymous. How long does it take to get admin to get client access after the email? I believe is it the client getting set up rather than admin doing anything?
It's in, a client, once they receive their email, can register immediately. It's set up immediately. It can be instant, within 30 seconds, within a minute. Quite easy to do, very quick. Okay. You could invite someone now, they can be on their email waiting, they'll watch the video, 2 minutes later, be registered, job done.
There you go, that solves that one. Last one, anonymous, so I can't tell who it is, but I set up a test account for myself that worked well. However, now when I send a message, I get access denied. You do not have permission to use the application.
Yeah, because you're using it on the same computer. The system recognises your system will whoever that is will recognise you as an advisor, and the algorithms in your background, you're confusing it, and it thinks you're trying to do something you shouldn't be doing. That's why you've got access denied. If you want to do that, well, I don't suggest you do it. There's no point setting up test accounts. You don't need to. But if you are a client of yourself, use a different laptop, iPad, phone to activate to use it, if you know what I mean. Use a different machine. You're trying to do it all on the same machine and you're confusing your own machine.
Okay.
That's why you've got access denied. If you use a different PC, you'll be able to get in.
Great.
Steve, any more?
Yep, this one's popped through just now, anonymous. Sometimes we have 3 or 4 clients named on one mortgage. How should we add the clients to the portal?
No, we can only do 2 at the moment.
There you go.
Straightforward answer. That's one I'll take to IT developers and see if we can add more. But at the moment, it's 2 and a power of attorney, so technically 3.
Again, Steve, that's something that we're working on is relationships of multiples more than 2. So it's one of the benefits of the new system that we will be able to do that, but we're only in the sort of infant stage of testing that sort of thing at the moment. So I'd say it'd be quite a while before we're able to release it to the wider population. But if you do have any instances of clients more than 2, and you wanting them to be on a sort of a single recommendation, if you email support, they can look at adding them, but each individual would need their own individual portal access. And the same applies to a couple, to be fair, regardless of any sort of multiple of 1, is each client has their own individual access, so it doesn't matter if it's then 3 or 4. Each individual client would have separate logins anyway. Each client has a unique login with their own email address and their own mobile number. Yeah,
but to give each other access, Justin, at the moment.
No, that wouldn't be possible. That would only exist within the system. Recognises a joint relationship when the option to give each other access exists.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just a couple of updates I've had come through. Once the old legacy fact find submissions are turned off completely, then we'll be able to do sort of having more than 2 clients under the same sort of umbrella sort of thing.
Well, I mean, the old legacy fact find is, there's nothing new going through there anyway, so that doesn't have any bearing on the sort of being able to add more than 1 client to a record or more than 2 clients to a record.
Okay, so there's that, and also going back to the bit about using your own sort of account thing. If you do it in 2 separate browsers, so you have your advisor 2 client access in one browser, say Edge, and then you're trying to log in as a client of yourself in, say, Chrome, that will work as well. It's just where you're trying to do it for two in the same browser as well. It will play up.
Okay.
That's it for now, yeah.
Excellent. Next bit's easy enough. So, I'm not telling you guys how to do your job, but if I was doing this is how I would do the PCA, how to send them a PCA. So I'm going to show you quickly. So I would say to a client, Mr. Client, log back into your portal. Now, obviously, it's slightly different for ARs because you have your own PCAs. You can still do this, a version of this. But I would say to a client, Mr. Client, you're a new prospect. Okay, we're doing a Teams meeting. If you click on publications for me and share your screen or watch mine, and then you've got a copy of all my newsletters. But actually, I want you to click on publications again. And if it's a mortgage, the mortgage and protection agreement's there, or if it's a PCA, which is one I'm going to use, it's there. So we click on that, and me and the client can talk through the PCA. It's mandatory to do so. You don't have to be sat next to them to do it, but you can do it on Teams. So I would talk through the PCA with a client and say, Mr. Client, this is all about me, the relationship with 2Plan. No different than giving your client a hard copy. But I would say, So, Mr. Client, what I would normally do is, if I'm sat next to you, I'd have 2 handwritten copies of the client consent form telling you my fees are 3% and 1%. For the 3%, you get this. For the 1%, you get this. Ongoing service. Are you okay with my fees? Yeah, that sounds reasonable. Okay. So what I'm actually going to do, now you've read that, any questions? No, it all sounds straightforward. Right, you have a permanent copy of that, Mr. Client. It's always in the same place. It's on the dashboard, publications, 6 1 down, you have that agreement. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to send you an email which will ask you to log into the system. Okay, and then when you log into the system, I want you to go to Documents, and I want you to click on Menu, download the client consent form, which will just say 3 and 1%, and then acknowledge it, which is a digital signature, which is acceptable to 2Plan, and then I can crack on and start doing some business. Is that okay with you, Mr. Client? Any questions about PCA? No? Okay, I'm going to go away and send you the client consent form. Okay, so the client stays there for a sec. I'm going to go into back office under PCAs, and I'm going to do what you all can do already. I'm going to create a new PCA. I'm going to make it an investment. Start the PCA. This box the client doesn't see, so you could effectively put whatever you want in there. I'm just going to put SGB PCA 1907. Call it that. I'm going to click the client consent boxes, and my client's not bothered about marketing, so just put it in an email, nice and easy. Stage 1 to 3. I'm going to put our cost just for ease of this. I'm going to do a percentage, which most of you seem to do. I'm going to call it 100 grand. We'll put 3% in. You have to put the cash amount in. Now, please don't put 100 grand in, because Nick Hewitt then thinks we've got a load of money coming in if you do that, which has happened, but please don't do it. 3% of 100 grand is 3 grand. You have to tell the client the percentage and the cash amount approximately. Give or take a few quid. Is it going to make that much difference? Facilitated by the provider, and we're going to make that a single premium. Okay, you guys can fill all these 3 in. You really can. It's up to you. I'm not telling you how to do your job. I'm just keeping it easy for this. I'm going to put our cost implementation. So that's the first bit done. The second bit is ongoing service. Now, if you don't have any ongoing service, you don't get a valuation tab for your portal, because there's nothing, no ongoing service, there's nothing to look for. Why would we go and look for something we're not getting paid for? It's not going to happen. So we tick the box. It's a percentage of the gross amount. We've already agreed 1%. Now, arguably, that should be £970, but I'm just going to make it around for argument's sake, because they've had 3 grand out already. Facilitated by the provider, again, and payable to start immediately. Delivery method, it's going to be web enabled. Okay, so the frequency, I'm going to make it annual. Now, if I've got, sorry, the default stance from there, as soon as you press frequency, is annually, is a year from today. However, you can change that to whatever you want within reason. So if you're just arrived at 2Plan and you've got reviews in September, you can change that to September if you want. Or if you're an existing advisor who's been with 2Plan a long time, you've got plenty of PCAs in place, you've got a recent one with a review already booked, you can sync it here with that PCA, so you end up with the same review date. So you've got options, but we will keep you to the date. They can be changed, but it is a pain. Okay, spread them about. Non-investment, that's for protection, payable by fee, payable by commission, whatever. We'll just default that, and then a client signature. So the default is a scanned copy. So if you've got a hard copy that a client signed, you would attach the scan off your computer and use this route. We're going to send this to the client. Okay, we're going to send it. I'm going to save it first, and then once you save it, this bit over here turns to navy blue. Okay, so what we're going to do is digitally sign the PCA, have a quick view of it, make sure it's okay, it's fine, and now we're going to send it to the client. So the client is going to get this client consent form. But actually, they don't get it direct. That's gone. How do I know it's gone? Go back and I go to documents. There's the document already. It was sent a few seconds ago to the demonstration client. It's not been downloaded yet because they've not got it yet, and it's not been acknowledged. But anything you send to the client in the portal does not go to the client direct. It goes to the portal. That is the whole point. Now, I see some messages on the portal. Dear Steve, do me a favour. Can you log into the portal and deal with the PCA? Well, they can't see the message. So what's the point of writing that? Okay. So that PCA is gone. How does a client know they've got a document? Because we send them an email. Your advisor has posted a secure message or document. Please note, due to data security, it's not been included. We've provided you a link, which is access.2plan.com, which a client can use on any device, including a smartphone. Click on that, and when they click on that, effectively they come to this bit. Takes them straight to the login screen. Their details won't be in. They put key number 1, which gets them into the server, which is their email address. Key number 2 is the password that gets them into the portal. They log in. Once they log in, I'm already in documents actually. So they look for a document. It should be top of the shop. When it opens up, there it is. It's not been downloaded, not been acknowledged. I've been through the process with the client. Click on menu. They download the document. Open it up to see if we're stitching them up, 4 and 2. But actually, no, it's 3 and 1. I've already explained that to the client, so there's no surprises. There it is, crystal clear, nice copy. 3 grand, 1 grand. Yeah. They're happy with that. That's what we agreed. They shut it down. Then all they have to do is either click acknowledge there or acknowledge there. That's the signature. Doesn't really matter which one. We'll go with that one, and a warning box appears. So you're about to record confirmation that you've read and acknowledged the contents of this document. This will alert your advisor who will commence any agreed actions. The warning bit in red. If you're not happy with the 3 and 1, or it's something that you've not been told, effectively just contact your advisor. Don't acknowledge it, just close it. But actually this client's happy with that, 3 and 1, that's what we said. We've acknowledged it, they'll turn green. Both signed, that's the client's view. And then what would normally happen is the client would log out. That's what we want them to do. So how would you know a client has signed the document, signed the PCA? So first of all, you get an email. Your client and the demo or demonstration client has used the client access portal to record acknowledgement of a document. In other words, digitally signed a document. So we send you an email. We've already changed your user preferences to get emails and notifications, so you will get an email. What you'll also get is a notification up here. Demonstration client has acknowledged the document. So we tell you twice, okay? So we now know the client has acknowledged the document, but we're in documents already. But it's not green. I wonder why that is. All you do, just refresh the screen. There it is. And that's the signature as far as we're concerned. What we can prove is the advisor test account when it was uploaded by you, 1437 on the 19th, real time. The demonstration client just happened to be sat at the computer when you sent it, 1439, they downloaded it, read it, and acknowledged it at 1440. As far as our checkers are concerned, job done. Okay. Any questions on that bit of the PCA? Because there is a little bit more to do. Any questions on that bit?
Let's have a look. Where do we get up to? Go back to PCAs. Do you need Andrew Morgan says, do you need a PCA for each sale? Like, or can you multi-PCA for multiple sales, or will this confuse? other than ongoing transfers.
Justin, do you want to go?
He's no longer with us, I'm afraid. I mean,
All right.
he's still
You only
alive,
need
I'm
one,
sure,
Andrew,
but,
you need one PCA. One PCA. If you're doing an investment, a pension, 2 ISAs, bond, whatever you do, you just need one PCA, but you do have to break it down in the background on back office, but I'm not covering that today, but you actually only need one PCA.
okay, covers that one. From Anonymous, sometimes you don't know at that stage with the PCA what the fee will be. What do you put on the consent form at that stage if you don't know?
You can't because, well, you could, but you'd have to revise it. If you said to a client, the maximum I'm going to charge you is X and Y, subject to the letter of authority, if it comes back, I might reduce that to A and B. But ultimately, when you sign, when a client signs a client consent form, he's signing to agree a fee. So what some advisors do in that scenario is they deliver the PCA, but they don't complete the client consent form at that point. Now, we're not ultimately that bothered about that, as long as the PCA has been done in a timely fashion and you agree a fee, ideally before you start work, because why would you want to work for nothing? You agree a fee and you have to submit that client consent form when you submit the business. It's better to do it up front, but I agree there are occasions where you don't know what to charge. Most people, most advisors have set fees, 3 and 1, 2 and 0.6, whatever. You have set fees, you charge what you want. There is a bit of time lag for some, but not many. You just got to work it around how you work. When you submit the business, you have to have a client consent form in place. Personally, I wouldn't start any work. It's just me. I wouldn't start any work till I got an agreement in place.
Okay. Next, not actually a question, but just some positive feedback saying without client access portal during COVID, we'd never complete any business. It's great. So there you go. Thumbs up.
Thank you for that. So my next prediction is when the next lockdown happens, when it happens, because it's going to, if you don't use the portal, what are you going to do?
Pass.
Right. Anyway, can't answer that.
one.
So moving on.
Next one, anonymous. I think this is actually next been answered. The next one says, would it be possible to replace acknowledged with client signature? As some clients are confused by that, but selecting acknowledged is where it says I've actually signed the document. So
yeah, the answer to that is we chose acknowledged for a reason. I don't know what that reason is. It's highly unlikely it's changing. Highly unlikely, but that question will be recorded, and I'll put it down to Sam. I'll ask Sam. We'll get back to you. I don't think it's going to change.
okay, that's it for the moment.
So moving back to PCAs, once the client has dealt with it, you've got one little bit to do. You go to PCAs and you find the one I was working on, SGB PCA 1907. It's awaiting submission. You just have to do one more little job for that. Click on it and then submit it. Pick an investment. I don't know. Put it to that one. Doesn't really matter. And it will submit shortly. There you go. PCA submitted. So that when you go into your recommendations, when you go into your fact find, you will have a submitted PCA in there. You just call off SGB PCA 1907 and it will be there. That's that's just the last bit. PCA submitted. That's all you have to do. So what you've done now, you've knocked me from this chair. You've invited your client to the portal. They've accepted. You've now sent them a PCA. Sorry, you've got them to log into the system, gone through the PCA with them, sent them a PCA client consent form, which they've now signed, and you haven't moved from your chair. Next bit. This is about as easy as it gets. Attitude to risk. Click on attitude to risk. Let's say it's a new client. You can create an attitude to risk and it opens up and you can do a Teams meeting, but I'm showing you the portal and you can talk them through the attitude to risk. Probably caused me a problem now that it will. So I'm going to send the attitude to risk. So how many clicks is that? I've clicked on attitude to risk. I'm going to send the client There'll just be you there. So reality is that's 3 clicks, select and send. And that's the attitude to risk sent to the client. Same again, the attitude to risk goes to the questionnaire tab in the portal. It doesn't go direct. The client gets an email to tell them there's an attitude to risk questionnaire in the portal waiting for them to be completed. Can you go and log in? Okay, so all a client would do in that part and that point would be go to their portal, log in with key number 1, which is the email, key number 2, which is the password. They log in. Once they've logged in, they find, and it opens the questionnaire, risk questionnaire. On the risk questionnaire, the client gets a video to explain how to do the risk questionnaire, cartoon. If I played it, you won't be able to hear it, but all your clients get that. And then they've got the attitude to risk questionnaire here, which they open up. And it's no different than what we just opened up in the fact find. It's exactly the same order, exactly the same questions. However, one stumbling block is question number 1. Question number 1 is, if they answer no, the rest of the attitude to risk will not open. That's it. If they're not willing to accept any level of risk, it won't open. So, Mr. Client, I'm going to send you an attitude to risk, a link to the attitude to risk. You're going to get an email. When you get the email, log into your portal. Go to the risk questionnaire part, and if you answer no to the first question, can't deal with you. Okay. When they get to the end, it actually asks them, are they happy with their answers? And then when they're happy with their answers, they click that box. Are you happy? Yes, job done. And then off it flies all the way back. You'll get a notification to say your client's done. And it basically populates your fact find ultimately. But here, what you won't find with the attitude to risk is it in documents. It's not there. And the reason why it's not a document, it's a link. It's a direct link to the attitude to risk, of which when they complete, comes back directly to you. It's not a document, it's a link. Okay, that's straightforward on the attitude to risk. Now, if your client does answer no and submits it, all you'd have to do is rationalise on your fact find what they've done, why they've done it, and you just sent them a new link. Easy to do. Massive time saver that, but yeah, obviously you've still got to chat with the clients about the attitude to risk when they send it back. Is it correct? Is it what they understood? You have to talk it through. You just can't take it as read. That's it. Attitude to risk done, Stephen. Any other questions?
None through so far.
Okay, one thing I forgot, which I'm just going to cover on documents, on the acknowledge. If a client is using a smartphone, okay, and they have it in portrait, the client won't be able to see the acknowledge button. If they turn it to the landscape, they will. It's just a bit of a quirk. Okay, so if they're using a smartphone in portrait, they won't see the acknowledge button. Turn it to the side, landscape, and the acknowledge button will be there. Forgot to mention that. So you can send any documents you want to a client, anything. All you do, if you're doing a suitability letter, go onto your client, click on documents, upload files, open the browser, put something in. Suitability letter. I don't know. What should we use there? I don't know. Let's say I'm just going to put something in. Active money. Sorry if I'm using yours. Just put anything in. So you have to categorize what it is. Now, if it's an MPA, a PCA, or a suitability letter, this tick can't be taken out. It's impossible. It won't come out. That means it has to be digitally acknowledged. Digital signature. You've got to download it and acknowledge it. And that includes mortgage suitability letters generated from the system. They have to digitally sign it. If I put anything else in additional information, it's up to me whether I get them to sign it or not. If I've done a piece of work that I want the client to acknowledge, I would put a tick in and make them sign it. Other than that, you don't have to. 3 mandatories are MPA, PCA suitability, that's it. You have to categorise. Now, the last bit for me is a client. If a client's sending you something, so they've scanned it back into their system, it's on their system, they go into documents on their site, and it opens up, a bit slow today, and they upload a file, as you would, open the browser, put it in, no categorization, they don't have to categorize, press send, you get a notification to tell you they've sent you a message and it's in the file. Okay. Stephen, any questions on that bit?
Still nothing.
Excellent. Let's move on. What's in the portal then? Why is it so good? We list all the policies. We're on the home straight. We list all the policies. They're all in there for a client. If you've got ongoing service, you get a valuation tab, but I'm going to come to that last. Okay, you've already had a look at documents and messages. They're all recorded. Don't need to go over them again. They're all in there, all the messages. Some slightly different ones. You've been in the REST questionnaire, publications, you've had a look at newsletters, all the other documents. About legal, it's about you. You can have your mugshot put in there and all your details. All the electronic valuations where we've got electronic relationship are all there. If they're not there, we haven't got one. It's a manual. Input. Settings, if your client can't see as well as whatever, medium, large, you can change the settings. There's 2 really important tabs to this. Now, I would say on the whole, the newer people are using this more than the people who've been around for a while. But this, your data, is absolutely class. So I can basically set a client up today on the portal. They've replied today. I've sent them I've talked them through the PCA and I've got them to acknowledge my fees 3 and 1. I've sent them an attitude to risk. I've now got it back. We've discussed the attitude to risk on Teams and they're happy with their answers. So they're now balanced. So I say to Mr. Client, do us a favour, Mr. Client, go back into your portal, go back to the dashboard, have a look at your data. You seem computer literate. You've really bought into what I'm doing, which is great. Do me a favour, have a crack at filling all that in. Our margin protection advisors on the whole are doing this more than the investment advisors, and their clients are populating all this standing data. So by the time you really need to get involved, they've registered for the portal, they've done the PCA, they've done their attitude to risk, and they've filled in 1/3 of the fact find for you, and you haven't moved off your chair, and it's all been done in the morning. Wow. No petrol, no stamps, no printing, no ink costs, no wearing a mask in a dumbass post office, no risking anybody's health. OAPs don't really want to see anybody because they're scared shitless. I mean, it's just a dream, this. Absolute dream. It works. Okay, just return to the dashboard. But the one they like more than anything, apart from your data, sorry about that, the one they like more than anything is the valuation tab. Now we're over 75s, they're on this all day long. Gives you a total investment, investments, pensions broken down. You can break it down to percentages. You can have a look at individual policies, which is what the clients like doing. Let me pick one. Didn't work yesterday because someone had downloaded it. Scottish Widows Pension. Let's have a look at that. Click on that one. We get a valuation once a week. Request the valuation. My system's running a bit slow today. It's already been done today, so that's the date. Okay, so we do it for Monday morning, but a client can literally change these every day, every policy, which is what they do. They play on it all day long. They have their wealth at their fingertips on their smartphones. And when new people say to me, my clients won't use this, they're too old. Absolute nonsense. Our number one age group users wise is over 75 on the valuation tab. Fact. Which can be proven. So that's what's in the portal. Very secure. You need an internet connection to get on it. You need a key to get in the server, which is the email, a mobile phone to authenticate the portal in the first place. Then they need a password, which gets them into their individual portal. They literally come in, deal with what's in there, shut it down, leave. It sends you a message. And via our internal system, you can go in there and check it all yourself. It's absolutely brilliant. It saves a lot of time, a lot of time. Sorry, Stephen Archer, shouldn't have that up. Got there once. Any questions? Steve, I can't see the questions. Have we got any?
Sorry, I was doing all that, talking without my microphone on. Doing well. Anonymous one. Had clients upload their documents to the portal, all labelled badly in one place. Is there any way that we can make changes to the labels or the file names, I'm assuming, after they've uploaded them?
The client doesn't categorize, so they're not labelling anything. So
Would it just be their file name then?
It's what, mate?
Would it be they sort of giving it like I don't know, the wrong file name when they upload it? If that's the case, then.
Well, that's down to the client. How do we deal with that?
Yeah. So can we like change the file name once it's been uploaded, or I'm assuming not?
No, we can't.
Well, what I'd say with that is, sorry, Steve, to talk over you there. When you open the attachment, it'll likely open as a PDF. So from there, you can, if they've scanned wage slips, bank statements, everything all as one document, and they've labelled it up, and it doesn't really sort of properly refer to the document as you would expect to then attach it to the recommendation. Open up the attachment, like I say, it's likely to be in a PDF format, and use something like Qt PDF Writer to print page 1 and 2, which might be the bank statement. Save that as bank statements in the client file. You can't save it back to the document center in CAP. Save pages 3 and 4, which might be wage slips, again in the client files, save it as wage slips. And then when you submit the recommendation, just attach those documents from the client file, you know, your yellow folder that you've got on your desktop or wherever you've got it. So you do have that element of control. It's just that you won't be able to use, when you're uploading it to the recommendation, you won't be able to use the document store necessarily if they'd grouped everything together into one big file and it wasn't labeled, because when you upload documents into a recommendation from the doc store, it will take it directly from you know, what it's been saved at and what documents are grouped together in that way.
Yeah, it's a good point. Clients do put multiple documents in, all different types together. You can't change that title, but like Justin said, if you've got the relevant kit, you can break it down and save it to the client file. Of course you can.
Cool. Right, and another anonymous one, then one more. The biggest comment I get to messages is that the message they type is lost or not sent. I have to type it again. I'm not sure if just down to time or anything down to using an iPad. Do you know if there's any problem with iPad? If not, and down to time, can't we lengthen the time they can have before sending or add a copy button? So I'm wondering if that's maybe like a timeout issue.
Well, once you send a message and it's recorded in a blue background and white writing, that message stays there forever. It doesn't go anywhere. So if you press send and the message is in blue and white, it's sent. If it's not in blue and white, it's not been sent.
Yeah, those messages, that messaging center, almost think of it as something like WhatsApp or, you know, an old sort of SMS style communication channel. It's all there in real time. So literally, as soon as they've typed it out and sent it, they can see that, and you can see the full chat thread. So if they can't see it, it's not been sent. But there wouldn't be any instances of messages being lost, because, like I say, it is just a real time messaging system.
Yeah, the client actually, from an iPad or from any device, if you send a message to the portal, the client doesn't see it anyway. We send them an email to tell them to go to the portal. There's a message there for them.
I think what someone's trying to, oh, sorry, Steve. I think what someone's trying to get out of there is possibly that if they're halfway through typing something and maybe come back to it like 5 minutes later after they've been interrupted. I think it's possibly sort of logged them out or lost what they were typing.
Right, that's a slightly different query.
We can come back and check on that one later.
I think things like that are just subject to internet protocols, though, not necessarily anything that we can influence the settings on. One thing that I would say just about the messaging, and as Steve's touched on a couple of times, that the client receives a message to say you've sent a message or you've sent a document.
Yeah.
What we are finding is that a client will go in via that link, and as Steve showed you, when you're going via that link, it takes you straight to your login page. You'd log in, you'd see that message. But then when they're looking to go back into the portal, they're trying to go back in via that link rather than using a favorite or something like that. Now that link is cached, cached once. So once you've clicked on it once and logged in once, it shows you as being logged in. So then the clients, when they're going back in through that link that they've received in their email, they're getting a message saying you're already logged in. So it's important, again, that the clients know that they have the actual portal bookmarked, and that yes, you'd use that link once to access a document, but if you want to go back into your portal, or if you want to see that suitability letter, that PCA, whatever it is you've sent them, you want to see it after you've already seen it once, you'd have to go in through a login page rather than clicking back in through that link again. Yeah,
well said, Justin. Just on this, any more questions, Steve?
No, just the last one, which I'm not entirely sure about to do. It's SJP here. I'm not sure whose initials they are. Hi, Steve. Please can you go over how manual valuations are updated? I've tried to do this by editing MCC.
I will be doing a session on that in the next couple of weeks. Me and Steve. Steve, how do you fancy doing a session with me on valuations?
Yeah, definitely, because that's important, that, Justin, because there are a lot of manuals, definitely.
Right.
Easy to do, fellas, just ladies as well. It's just a bit long-winded, but it's easy to do.
Yeah, so we'll do a session on that in the next few weeks.
Right.
Brilliant. Okay, one thing is it right? Can I just finish off then, Steve?
Yeah.
So all I would say with the portal, I mean, listen, when we first got Teams, I was trying to kill myself on Teams, trying to do a video call to James while I was driving. So I took it off my mobile. I wasn't a massive fan of Teams. I really wasn't. But I've been a fan of the portal. Teams has grown on me, but I've been a fan of the portal from day one. Honestly, this is a game changer if you use it. There are people within the business, some top performing advisors who crack on, they don't use it, and actually do use it hell of a lot. Now, if the top performers are using it, there has to be a reason why they're using it. That's all I'll say. It's a game changer. Learn how to use it. It's massive time saver for you guys. It really is. And if you want any extra training, I'm always available. That's me done.
Right. Well, Stephen's had to shoot off. So thank you all for your time as usual. Thanks, Steve, Nicola, and Stephen. And sorry, I sort of dipped in and out, but
perfect, Justin. Anytime.
Far too warm for me to do a full hour today. So well done, anyone that's had the stamina to manage. And yeah, so next week's session, we'll be posting details on that maybe tomorrow, but certainly no later than tomorrow if it's not today. And yeah, we'll look forward to speaking to you all again next week.
See you soon. Thanks for listening.
Thanks
for the questions.
Bye bye.